Yo guys, what is up? Today I just wanted to do a quick little video talking about what it's like to buy a new vehicle that has an issue. So I'm now sitting inside my new truck. But anyway, I wanted to quickly discuss what happens when you buy a vehicle that ends up having an issue. So I purchased this truck literally like right before I drove it off the lot, then check engine light comes on. And so I just want to kind of discuss that process. So being that I work at a dealership, it is a little different than normal. And just to show you, I will show you check engine light is on right here. I guess let's just get into basically the basics more or less of what happened. So initially I ended up purchasing this on a day that they were technically closed, right? So the shop and everything there was not open, period, the end. And so they didn't basically say up to you, figure it out, but they were willing to help, but they just didn't have any of the answers, right? The managers were gone, all the service team was gone, so there's nothing they could really do for me that day. And at the same time, I needed to get back. I bought this out of town, so I had to come back home this like same day. So I couldn't leave it overnight. I basically just had to grab it. So that happened. I was able to get a scan tool, found out it was just like an O2 sensor code, and came back home. You know, they said they'd let me know the next day what happened. So the next day I got in contact with the manager, or they did. Anyway, they let me know kind of what the situation was, and more or less they kind of wanted to just see what they were going to do. So they wanted to see, first of all, how fast the warranty was going to cover it, because understandably the business doesn't really want to take the money out of their pocket if they can get away with it. So I kind of understood that. And then otherwise they were just going to cover it. So basically, I just went ahead and did a diagnosis on my own, which kind of sucked. Looking back on it, I should have tried to get payment for that, but I just didn't. It wasn't very hard to do, and so I kind of screwed myself over on that. I'll admit it. But that's why it's a little different. Normally, you would have to take it to a shop and have it professionally diagnosed, whereas I was able to do that myself. And then they were going to reimburse me for that, and then that was guaranteed, and then they would pay for whatever. So anyway, we went ahead and did that. I went ahead and diagnosed it. Found out, I got them a parts quote through my shop and everything. They got the quote, and I sent it to them, and I just said, hey, you know, basically I'd prefer to get this taken care of faster than waiting for the warranty to come up. You know, this issue's been for a few days, and I'd just like to get it taken care of as soon as possible. And I just said, would you be willing to cover this, or can you verify that the warranty's ready so I can get this step forward? They said, sure, you know, we'll check. They talked to the manager. The manager's like, look, you know, cover it. So basically that's what we're doing today. We're gonna get it covered. So again, being that I work at the shop, I keep saying that a lot, but it is part of the story. I'm actually going to be paid to work on this vehicle as if it was a customer's car, because I did the diagnosis, and now I'm going to be doing the repair. So without further ado, we're going to get this in there, get it in the air. We're going to take a look at it. All right, this thing is really not that hard. I mean, I'm basically already done. I just pulled that down. I mean, the sensor's here, connector's up there. I don't know if you can really see that, but it's definitely not hard repair. I mean, book time is only half an hour, so it should not take that long. Okay, that was actually like the easiest install in my life. You literally just unscrew it. I have a special Harbor Freight tool. There's two little tiny pieces of plastic. I'm not sure if you can really see those, but up in here. And then just reconnect it. So that's done. We're gonna hop back in, put the plate back on the bottom, clear the codes, and see what happens. Okay, so I just have a little basic OBD reader right now. This is just a Blue Driver, not sponsored or anything, but this is something Chris Fix recommends. It's just an app that connects to your smartphone, and then a little wireless device that plugs into the OBD. But I'm gonna go ahead and read these. I just care about the check engine light. There's nothing else in the vehicle right now. Anyway, this is the O2 sensor code that I took a look at. I diagnosed it, so we're just gonna go ahead and clear these out. Obviously with the vehicle on, it says we have a permanent code. So let's see if I turn this off and back on, the check engine light goes away. Okay, it is off. It'll probably take a little while because it does have to run the cycle and reset the code in order for it to go away. So I'm just going to leave it running for a little bit and see if that comes back. It'll come back basically once it reaches operating temperatures, what happened to me last time. So we'll go from there. Okay, so that was basically the majority of my experience. You know, it's a little different for me working in the shop and in the environment I'm in and everything. Like that kind of is different. I mean, obviously most people can't just take their truck to their work and diagnose it. They don't have the tools or experience or expertise or any of that. So for me, that's a little different, and I was able to look at it and understand that it wasn't a major deal at the time of buying. So keep that into consideration. One thing I did kind of experience, I guess, is I had to be a little bit more forceful than I usually am when it comes to getting what I want. You know, usually I don't know, I just kind of ask for it, but in this case, it just kind of seemed like, and granted, this wasn't from the manager, this was just from an employee and everything, so I don't know, maybe if I would have spoken to a manager, things would happen sooner, but it just kind of seemed like they were trying to just kind of push the process along. I didn't feel like they weren't trying to cover it or they were trying to screw me. I'm not putting that, but it did seem like they were trying to get away without having to pay for it if they could let the warranty cover it, which again, I understand from a business point of view, and that wouldn't have even bothered me. The only thing that bothered me about this experience was insisting that I wait a few weeks to make sure that the warranty was covered before the parts were covered. And so that's why I was like, look, I'd like to take care of this as soon as possible. I mean, this is now my daily driver. I need this truck to be reliable, and I don't want to have any issues further down the road. So I did kind of explain all that to him, and then after that, things got taken care of from there. So I'd overall say it was a pretty good experience, but it's definitely a little bit worrying. I mean, I had to take this truck quite a ways. I mean, I was driving, 100 and something miles away from home. That's about 3 hours from where I bought the truck and everything. It would have been really bad on the way back. It shut down. Luckily, there was no snow or anything, but that would have been even worse. So yeah, I don't know. My experience was pretty good. It was a pretty easy fix, and I don't really have too much to complain about. It was kind of just a hassle to get them to cover it, but they did, and everything's working fine, and I ended up, since I work here, getting paid to do it. So I'm just gonna leave this running here for a second, verify that the code doesn't get back on. I'll probably do that after my drive home just to double check, because I do have some more work I have to do here. That'll be in another video. At this point, I just realized I forgot to put a piece in my engine. The one I'm building for my Del Sol card will be somewhere on the top if you're interested in that video, but this is about midway through. I mean, the engine's out here, right there, but it's basically back together. I was just waiting on a few parts. I have those now, and I was gonna throw it together, and I realized I forgot a little piece, so gotta redo that. But anyway, that's my experience. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop those down below. And as always, have a wonderful day.